Have you seen how much momentum has been playing into the defense stocks lately? One of the notable ones is BigBear.AI. We just wrapped up a few rounds of golf, and I'm pretty hot right now. It's even a little bit smoky outside here in California because of the wildfires. But one thing that has been hot and then recently cooled off here is Big Bear. Let's jump into it. And just a friendly reminder, if you ever want to join our daily live sessions that happen Monday through Friday at Market Open to see us trade live in AI, quantum computing, space, and tech stocks, I would encourage you to check out the second link down below to learn how to invest. It's Stockmates. I'll send you a free t-shirt. I'll even give you a personal phone call if you decide to enroll. BigBear.AI, maybe with the exception of Palantir, this company has been on a rocket as of recently. We saw them surge basically from this $3.50 price point up into this range of about $8.72 in about 11 days. It was a 130% increase over really the course of just entering from June into July. Now, we saw it pull back recently, really healthy pullback, really good to see. Part of the reason why it's good is because of the valuations. There has been some short interest as it started to get up into this range, a lot of the shorts expiring shortly, and that puts this company really into a position that is good before earnings. If we saw them shoot up right before earnings, and they get up to earnings and maybe they don't come out with the best earnings, then we could see a very, very dramatic sell-off. But instead, we get this sell-off. Now, the question is, do we see what we saw earlier back when it made that $10 run? When we started covering it back here in October and November, around $1 a share, started running up to this $10.50 price point. Once it hit it in February, it started to sell down, and it sold all the way down to $2.30. Would we think that's going to happen again? Well, it depends on the market sentiment in general. It's down here today. Obviously, you see it sold off big, about 10% on Friday. But overall, a lot of AI companies and defense companies doing fairly good on Friday. We just saw Big Bear come in with this correction. Now, could it correct down like that? It's possible. I think now what we're seeing, though, more than likely, we're going to see a pullback kick in as soon as earnings hit and we got some more solid information on their financials. They could see a very strong move in either the up or down direction. Now, of course, we see that happen most of the time. How many of you guys have seen when earnings come out, even if they beat earnings, the stock goes down? A really good example is like AMD. They were doubling their revenue for months and months and months, but they continued to sell down. And then you looked at this recent move with Big Bear, and we see it get up into these levels, and they haven't even had their earnings come out. The next earnings are on August 7th, so we got a little bit less than a month to see how things play out. And when we look at Big Bear, the financials are the one thing that we've said really could stand to benefit from some quarterly revenues increasing with their net income potentially finding some bottom there, and start to see it hold like it was back in June earnings in 2024 or September. But what a lot of people don't realize about, yes, there's the financials, they look good on their balance sheet recently. Yes, more department contracts, but a lot of people don't realize how much we've seen them expand with this very scan technology. Now, when we're looking at any company's growth, their financials, which we've seen them get some $100 million plus contracts recently, and they've seen to really get a bunch of contracts here with a lot of different airports. But the main thing we're looking for is the real world usage, not just the financials looking better, not just that they have the technology, but they're actually seeing usage. And we got all these really great comments from all you guys, especially those of you that are travelers. You tell me, oh, hey, Will, I saw it at San Francisco. I saw it in Denver. I saw it at any other airport, New York or what have you. And it really helped out because before they announced all the airports here, we already had an idea. But there's some airports even here that aren't mentioned that I've heard from different subscribers. Now, personally, I've seen the technology be deployed at Denver. I was one of the first people to see it, I think. I was living in Boulder at the time. Now I live in California, but I did then again travel back to Denver for a space tech conference to check out some of those companies. And when I did, there was Big Bear there. So, Denver International Airport, really big, Los Angeles, JFK, and they just announced this recently. So why is it so important? Because if they're going to see those contracts and the revenue continue, this is really big on their development. So international arrivals experience for U.S. citizens while maximizing security and in compliance. And the CEO of Big Bear, previously proud to support, I mean, he was Secretary of Defense. He's working in border and customs and homeland security. It makes sense that they have these contracts. The current CEO, Kevin McAleenan. But then you got U.S. Customs Border Protection and transforming security and safety for travelers while elevating the passenger experience through AI-powered innovation. So that's where they use the AI to do the analysis on the person, who they're traveling with, what their travel activity has been like, and it's kind of crazy, right? It's like Big Brother, but the thing is this is perfectly timed. Why? Because we've seen a lot more growth, and I come from we've seen a lot more growth in border patrol and things like that. But I come from a family, literally, like my wife is from Argentina. We've done the green card stuff. She goes through the stuff. We've done a lot of verification stuff. And I'll tell you, like, while it is a headache and that's something you got to go through, like 26 documents just to get a green card or stuff like that. I actually find it really nice because what happens is you get scanned and immediately you go through it. I don't think there'll be as much hassle. And then those that maybe are a threat will just be identified. So I think it would be valuable for the US government. Most likely that's why they're going to continue to use it. You might say, Will, doesn't that scare you a little bit? No, it's scary to an extent, but the amount of security that it provides in, let's say, documenting the millions and millions of people that are going to come through for the World Cup or things like that, absolutely huge. So we could see that be one of their main solutions. We've also seen them get into what seems to be some satellite tech. We see them get into what seems to be some other contracts with defense, even some AI powered tools for helping, I think it was Navy, build ships and construct ships. They are working not just, I think there was even a little bit of work with Palantir on some other things, and they're working with drones as well, which it really gets kind of interesting to see all the different levels they're going through. You might say, are they spreading themselves too thin? Well, with the financials holding where they are, making about $40 million to $50 million per quarter on average, and the total liabilities shrank, so they cut down their debt. And then they got about 630 employees. So, no, it makes sense that they are where they are. And I don't think they're spreading themselves too thin, but they have this growth trajectory now where institutions and retail investors got heavily involved. We see them shoot up to that $8 range. And now we're seeing this pullback. Now, could it pull back more? As of now, it's at the support here at about $6.30. A stock has a greater chance of continuing in the direction it's going than reversing. You might have heard people say, buy the uptrend, buy it while it's making the move. It's true that it has a better chance of going up or going down if that's the direction it's already going. But when it comes down to the trend, sometimes timing it or things like that, just it doesn't matter if you buy the top or you buy the bottom. It's just a matter of having a plan. And right now, it's possible we see a strong support here at $6.40. And if it does bounce at this level, it's possible that when it bounces, we see it bounce very strong. And it is a level that I think we even had a resistance over here too, if I stretch that out, and a support. So it's not like a random level. We see this resistance here back in February, and then it also acted as a support there back in early February. And so it's possible that previous resistance could act as a support. It bounces here. We start to see it push back up above that EMA. And when it comes to the near term, it's possible too. This here, this blue line, this EMA, when it's above it, it's oftentimes bullish, right? When it's holding above that blue line. And also the green line, this 200-day moving average. And recently we saw it break below that 200-day moving average, break below that EMA. And so what I'd like to see is for it to continue that push above the EMA, continue in the technical side of things in that direction. Now, one thing to note, and I could get even more technical for a moment here as we look for kind of this margin. Let's say we see a bounce, it's about a 10% bounce. It looks like RSI, MACD, everything else looks oversold. Doesn't mean it can't sell off more, especially here with shorts expiring, but it is possible too that we see this type of move where it bounces and potentially continues up if institutional interest continues to build. Now that would be about a 33% increase to a 35% increase if we see that bounce. Outside of that, last thing to really consider from a technical perspective, it's rare that we go into this, but I think it's worth doing because it actually played a really good indicator when we were doing it earlier, and institutions often use it. It's why it exists here, which is the Fibonacci. You know, when we use the Fibonacci, we could kind of stretch this down. How you use it, how you use the Fibonacci is you essentially will, you're going to want to open up the Fibonacci. You're going to go from the highest point, which was $10.50, down here to the lowest point, which seems to be about $2.30. That was the most recent lowest point since the peak. And then we're going kind of in this trend, kind of saying, all right, what if we see that full recovery getting back up there? Well, let's just talk about this for a minute. You got this trend happening where we have this overall market cap build, right? This is a market cap build. You see it maybe here about, I don't know, $300 to $500 million market cap. When we started covering it, we saw it push up. Now it's building. It's kind of holding above this $1 billion market cap and now above about 2 billion right now. When we look at the Fibonacci and we look for these levels, in the golden ratio is oftentimes where we'd want to buy. So when we're looking at the golden ratio, it's a 0.618. As of right now, I remember we were watching this stock earlier, and when we were looking at this breakout, it was this trend. I don't know if you guys could see too well, but we had this support level, and then we had this resistance level on Big Bear. And it was funny because right when we started to see it break out of this trend, it was entering into the golden ratio on Fibonacci. And we're like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. And that's why we traded it in this hyper bull trend on the way up. And it made it all the way up into this 0.23 level, which is essentially when you're trading Fibonacci, if you buy in this golden ratio, which is what most institutional traders would look to buy it within this range, then a good trade would be in this point, this 500. A great trade would be up in this 0.382, and an amazing trade would be above this 0.23. Basically, it did make it back up to that 0.23, and it's funny because that's the price point, $8 a share, where I said if it reaches $8 a share, we'll give away stock meat for free for those of you that purchase. And I just got some emails I could show you guys, but so of some members that were excited to see that they're refunded for stock meat because of that sale. So really nice. But anyway, we get this sell off, we see it sell back down. It's at this support here. The next level to watch is that actually that 0.1 or 0.618. So this golden ratio, it's a previous resistance right here. It's also right here, 0.618, and it's at that resistance. According to Fibonacci, going from the bottom point to where we could potentially see it get up to the previous highs, the Fibonacci would indicate that we'd want to wait and look for a buy somewhere in this golden ratio here. Now, it's also possible that this could continue the trend, and that's why we want to watch this level closely. That's kind of how it looks when we look at all of the technicals for Big Bear. So again, we'll be watching it throughout the week. And if you guys would like to see us trade it live at market open and see how we trade, a lot of times when the moves happen, it's right at market open. We don't stay in front of the screen all day. It's in the first few, minutes of the day, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes. A lot of people like to listen to it. And we go live Monday through Friday. It's the second link in the description if you want to watch us trade live and get a free t-shirt sent to you along with our targets and everything else. There's the stock profit calculator. We're just thanks Lawrence for sharing that with the team there in Stockmate. And also the targets for all the stocks and when they're reporting earnings and all that stuff. You can always send me a message. But again, it's that second link in the description. If you decide to get into Stockmate, I would love to give you a call. When it comes to the next steps for Big Bear, we'll be watching this level here at 630, 625. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button if I earned it. And do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.